In this lesson, our objective is to understand and be able to multiply fractions with fractions using an area model. Here we have 1/5 times 2/3. You know, this times, it always makes me think that times, oftentimes we can think of that as the word of. And sometimes that's easier to think of it, especially when we're doing area models, to think of multiplying as the word of. So I'm going to think of it 1/5 of 2/3. That means that I'm starting with my 2/3. This is what I'm starting with because I'm taking 1/5 of this. I'm taking a piece of a piece. So I'm going to show this box right here. I start with my rectangle, and this is my hole. I have one hole here. So I need to show my 2/3. So let's go ahead and break that into 3 pieces vertically. Here's 1/3, here's another third, here's a third. And all that together gives me one hole. And I want to show 2/3 of it. So I'm going to go ahead and shade in that 2/3. There's one of the thirds. And here is 2 of the thirds. But I don't want to stop there because I need to take 1/5 of that. So I'm going to look at this same hole again, and I'm going to break it into 5 pieces. I'm going to break that into fifths, but I'm going to do it horizontally this time. So here, there's 1/5, 2, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. So here's a fifth, here's a fifth, 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want one of those fifths. So here's one of those fifths. So I'm going to go ahead and shade that in. And I notice that as I'm going to cross over 2 of the boxes that are already shaded in when I created the thirds. So there was my 2/3. I shaded in a fifth of that. So there's my 2/3. I shaded in a fifth of that. And I see that now my entire hole has been broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces. That means that each one of these is 1/15. So I could actually write out 1/15 in all of those boxes because each one is a 15th. I'm not going to do that because it would take a little while. But I'm noticing that I just want, here was my 2/3, here was my 1/5 of that 2/3, and I end up with 2/15ths of that entire whole. So 1/5 of 2/3, or 1/5 times 2/3, is 2/15ths. You may be starting to notice some patterns about how these numbers work together. If you haven't been, think about what patterns you might notice. Let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look here at 2/3 times 3/4. Well, again, I'm going to think of that times as of, because it helps me understand that problem a little better. And I'm going to start with my hole again. So this is my one hole. And I'm starting with my 3/4. I'm taking 2/3 of this piece. This is my starting point. So I want to show fourths here. So I'm going to break this rectangle vertically into fourths. There's a fourth, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. And I'm going to shade in 3/4 of that. Here's a couple of fourths, and here's my third fourth. There we have 3/4 shaded in. 1, 2, 3. There's my 3/4. But I want to take 2/3 of it. So I'm going to break this same hole into thirds. I'm going to do that horizontally. I'm going to go the other direction though. So here's 1/3, here's a third, and there's a third of my hole. So here I have my 3/4, but I want to take 2/3 of it. So here's a third and there's another third. I'm going to go ahead and shade in those thirds that I'm showing horizontally. There's 1/3 shaded in. And there's 2/3 shaded in of my hole. Well, again, I'm on just the 3/4. There's my 3/4. Here's my 2/3 of it. So it's this section right here. I want to know how much of my hole. Well, I see my entire hole has been broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces. So each one of these is 1/12. And I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those 12ths. So 2/3 times 3/4 is 6/12. And for right now, it's fine to leave it just as a non-simplified fraction.